Good morning, Truth Serum Nation. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Truth Serum. I'm not going to give you a whole backstory on me. I got censored on YouTube, blah, blah, blah. They shut my channel down. But in this critical time of America, I'm going to just document a couple videos, have a little fun. So get a coffee, a pop, whatever you want to do. Come hang out with the Truth Serum. We're going to look at this beautiful person and some of the socio-political things associated with the late great Charlie Kirk. And then what would the mafia do, or what would the mafia type behavior? It just doesn't have to be like what would the mafia do, but what would be the behavior associated with the mafia? How would they address these types of things if it was within their family and other families, and how they settled things or how they addressed things in that fashion, and how they pursued it or stopped it or regulated it in those types of fashions. So the Truth Serum, I got my smoke, I got my coffee, and I don't care if 5 people watch this or 100. I'm documenting for my own head, and in also tribute to the late great Charlie Kirk. And the first thing I want to establish is his wife Erica. Yeah, I believe Erica. She was on Fox News. This woman is powerful. Charlie Kirk's wife. Behind every great man, there's a great woman. Charlie Kirk's wife. This Turning Point organization is just skyrocketed through the stratosphere. So, with that being said, his Charlie Kirk's legacy will live on forever. He's a great person in the world. So let's establish that first, because what I'm about to say after is like, you might say, oh, that's disrespecting Charlie Kirk. No, we're just going to unpack this. We're going to take a ride. We're going to unpack it and just see how it looks like as we go along. If you're able to comprehend and perceive things in such fashions, it is. If you're retarded, you're retarded. I'm sorry. Okay. I take notes once in a while. So, what would Charlie Kirk do? What would Jesus do? Well, turn the other cheek, boom. Turn the other cheek, boom. But Jesus, I only have 2 cheeks. I turned it, I got smashed. I turned the other cheek, I got smashed. I only got 2 cheeks, Jesus. Is that sacrilegious? I don't know, but this is a fallen world we live in. So, how Charlie Kirk's message was sit down and have civil discussions. Sounds good to me. Though the mafia pursued that. Let's have a sit down. We got a beef with another family. Let's sit down and work it out. Which highly rarely ever happened, anyways. So, how do you debate radical liberal media? How are you going to sit down with the talking evil heads? Charlie Kirk, God bless you, God rest you. So, when you have an opposition or an evil presence that you are dealing with, you're going to have to try to figure out other courses of action, because positive, constructive dialogue, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Well, what are you trying to say, the Truth Serum? What is the answer? Can you guess already, boys and girls? What is the answer? What would the mob do? Well, you got liberal media, woked out liberal politicians, psycho evils running around, and what they're putting in the public's face on a loop, CNN, MSNBC, they're running it on a loop around the clock, promoting evil, promoting violence onto not only Charlie Kirk, but onto many Republican Republican politicians. So they're getting out there and they're promoting all this around the clock, on a loop, on a loop, on a loop. So forgive me, Charlie Kirk, God bless you, God rest you, but in that arena, it is not going to work. They're a propaganda machine. They're bought and paid for by the evil globalists, by the evil puppet masters, and they're going to spin that nonstop. You're not going to convince the propaganda media to change. There's billionaire globalists that are feeding that machine. So take that off the table. Well, what are we left with? The truth serum. Well, what are we left with, Billy and Sally? Well, I watched 35 clips the other day, 35 consecutive clips of the MSNBC, the liberal CNN News, and they were calling out for violence against Republicans, and they've normalized it. They have normalized it. So that's fine and dandy. And the Republicans are of Christian based. The Democrats are of Lucifer based. So the Republicans got to have the position, no retaliation, no revenge, turn the other cheek, and let this propaganda evil machine and all the evil talk show hosts on there, and let them just spin and promote violence and death unchecked. Do they realize that what they are creating in their dialogue, do they realize that the message is if you don't agree with somebody, you take them out? So if that's the way they perceive everything, that you don't agree, take them out. Well, couldn't that happen to them also? If you're propagating and you're promoting that dialogue on a loop 24 hours a day with all the talking head liberal scumbags that are on MSNBC, Disney, channels, ABC, that whole propaganda machine, well, don't they ever feel threatened? But the Republicans are Christian and turn the other cheek, and we'll all sing kumbaya songs by the campfire, and we'll all have constructive debate, and we'll all get along, and it'll be bells and whistles and rainbows. Sorry, Billy and Sally, that will never happen. They're a bought and paid for propaganda machine apparatus to pollute the youth, the academia, the liberal universities all over America, what they brainwashing kids, indoctrinizing their minds, and you got the politicians that are spewing it, you got the propaganda evil media that's spewing it, and you got universities, liberals that are spewing it. A three-pronged attack to get the youth's mind. And that's why Charlie Kirk was encapsulating the children's mind to think for themselves, the youth. And that's why he was public enemy number one to that evil entity of globalists and the Democrat Party and the Democrat propaganda news networks. They showed 35 clips, one after another, for the people to react violently. They were giving out addresses. They were posting addresses of Republican politicians, so there can potentially be psychos to go out and search these Republicans out. Really? You want to play dirty like that? Will somebody post where Nancy Pelosi lives? Will somebody post where Chuck Schumer lives? Will somebody post where all those Democrat congressmen and senators live? When it is normalized on that side, but it's a crazy offense. The Republicans don't do it, but if they were to do it, it's a 5-alarm fire. It's normalized for them psychopaths. And all they said on those clips, Trump is Marxist. Trump is a Nazi. Trump is this on a 24-hour reel around the clock. CNN, MSNBC, ABC, that's all they do is propaganda, inciting violence, calling for people's heads. And that many have been attacked. There's been over 35 attacks on Republican politicians. But that's fine, huh? But the Republicans are on the side of common sense, logic, and reason. And Charlie Kirk promoted that. Charlie Kirk is an angel. Charlie Kirk is an angel. Charlie Kirk is probably one of the best human beings to grace the face of planet Earth. Charlie Kirk. I'm not trying to undermine Charlie Kirk, but I think there has to be necessary action taken for when you can come, for when the other side realize there is revenge for that. To these talk show hosts and evil people that are promoting people to go out and take other people out, until there's revenge and a backlash and consequences to said behavior. Until that point in time comes, it's going to be business as usual. Billy and Sally. Well, you're supposed to be a Christian, Joe, but you're promoting violence. Maybe you're promoting revenge. Well, maybe it has to be tit for tat before you can get to a place where you can have a reasonable discussion. Right now, today, tomorrow, next week, there is no reasonable discussion because you got psychopath evils from politicians to talk show networks and to university professors that are promoting evil. So that's a three-pronged attack. That doesn't look like that fire is going to be snuffed out anytime soon, Billy and Sally. I don't promote violence. I am a Christian. But what is the road and the path where you have to get to constructive dialogue? When you got $1 billion propaganda machine run by billionaire globalists and evildoers that got enough money to pay all those talking heads big salaries and just continue playing this evil game and promoting violence against Republicans. What is the answer, Billy? Sit by the campfire and sing kumbaya songs? Some say maybe revenge should be on the menu. Don't start none, there won't be none. You want to play this evil game and all that and spew all that, then you want to run back and crawl in your holes. You want to run back and crawl in your holes. You want to throw stones and then go hide. So until we can get to that point, then you could have the Charlie Kirk approach, which is the most beautiful thing on planet Earth. But other than that, what the Mafia would do, when in Rome, do like the Romans. You want to play these games? You want to put targets on all the Republicans' back, spew evil, spew violence, post addresses of Republicans. You want to play that game, and then you're just walking away. They're gloating and they're happy about what happened to Charlie Kirk. The globalists are happy about what happened to Charlie Kirk because Charlie Kirk was 31 years old and that voice was going to rock and roll till he was 100 years old. But see, you dumb retards over there, you globalist retards, what you caused now was a biggest rise in the Turning Point, his organization, which his wife that I watched last night, his wife is the most beautiful woman in the world, very strong, very smart, and all the Turning Point dates are sold out. So Charlie Kirk would have been able to get so many followers by himself with help, but now it ignited a bigger fire because in 36 hours, he's got 10 times more followers than it might have took him to get that over the next 10 years. So you screwed up, you globalists. You screwed up. You screwed up. Now you got an organization that is going to be stronger and powerful till kingdom come. But they go unchecked, they go unchallenged, and the talk show hosts want to give out the names and addresses of Republican politicians so psychopaths can go out and search them out. They want to promote that you should take out your enemy. If you have different political beliefs, the Democrats and the Democrat networks, they believe in taking out your political enemy. Really? Really? Well, if that's the same belief system they have, what if somebody on the Republican side believes the same thing? What if somebody on the Republican side believes the same thing and says, I want to take out my political enemy? If that's what they're promoting, then it could obviously happen to them. They have big security teams and all this and that, but you could have the biggest security team on planet Earth. It don't mean nothing. Donald Trump come within a centimeter of being gone. So you could spew all that. You could have all those security teams, but you're still vulnerable. You could still run and crawl back into your holes. But if you're spewing this type of stuff and you get somebody motivated to pursue violence and everything else, you're not exempt either. So they want to play. So the mafia would come back, and you look at Fox News being the Colombo family, and you look at CNN, MSNBC as the Gambino family. And they're throwing stones and they're crawling back. They're throwing stones, they're causing chaos, they're causing violence, and they're running back to their holes in the ground. In the mafia, you could only get away with that for a limited shelf life. But if they want to set the playing field, if they want to set the variables a certain way and promote that through academia, media, universities, politically on the Senate floor, then the same could happen the other way. That's not the Christian way to do it. But maybe you got to smash or whatever. You got to do what you got to do. And then maybe there'll be a point in time and you can do it the Charlie Kirk way. You could do it the Christian way. Charlie Kirk is like Jesus Christ, the Christian way. How do you get to that point? Turn the other cheek, turn the other cheek, turn the other cheek. You got 50 fists punching you in the face. How many times are you going to turn the other cheek? Till somebody says, I don't know. I'm not trying to promote violence, but you could more or less see this coming. If it happens, I don't know. You got these Democrats canceling their speaking engagements. Oh, Lord. Wait a minute. Hold on here. Hold on here. They're the ones promoting all the violence. All the Democrats are promoting all the violence. And now, in lieu of what happened, they're canceling their speaking engagements. Really? The little weasels over there? Now they want to run and crawl back in their holes. The Republicans and Turning Point, they're moving along strong. They're moving along strong with their messages. The evil Democrats, what are they here? Footsteps? They're promoting it all that, and maybe they've having an epiphany to think we're promoting violence. Well, violence can come from anywhere. You're just saying, and you're normalizing violence, attacks on Republicans. You're normalizing it. Well, if it's so normalized and that's your message, CNN, and all you talk show host scumbags, well, then if you're just promoting violence in general and normalizing it, then who's to say it could happen to you or anybody else? So don't get caught up in your own evil game. Don't get caught up in your own evil game, psychologically speaking. So what would the mafia do? The mafia would smash all them loudmouths out. All them loudmouths. There's no sit downs. There's no constructive debate. There's no dialogue. There's no none of this. There's no sitting campfire songs and all of that. The Democrat politicians, they're evil. They don't want to even meet with the Republicans. They didn't even have a moment of silence. The Democrat politicians on the floor didn't even want a moment of silence. These evil. Really? You want to play? They want to play like that? The colleges all over America promoting this propaganda evil? If it's normalized, then it could be normal for anybody. It could be normal for anybody, you know? And I'm not trying to, once you can establish that, and then you got these talk show hosts on CNN and everything else, maybe those editors over at those news networks will think twice about what they're spewing on a loop around the clock, promoting violence, calling out Republicans and where they live. Well, maybe they'll think twice before they try to put somebody's head on a chopping block. Maybe those editors and those globalists will think differently. If it was the Gambinos doing this to the Colombos would smash them all out and sleep like a baby with a bottle at night. This has gone on for years and years and years. It's not a Democrat party, and you're supposed to have allegiance to this thing called the Democrat Party. This is an evil, evil partnership with the devil, which is labeled this political party system in America. We got a Democratic Party, we got a Republican Party, and we identify as a Republican or a Democrat. They've turned this Democrat Party organization into this as an evil entity trying to take over the country and promote evil. The Colombos, Gambinos, Genovese, with the Luke Casey, Mafia families, they would have addressed that accordingly a long time ago. A long time ago. There's other variables, of course, billion-dollar globalists, elitists that feed the machine. They feed the machine. They feed the machine. And when money comes first, then logic and reason fall way behind. So they'll sell their souls to get that paycheck and spew all that propaganda without any consequence, it looks like. Without any consequence. You're promoting violence, but they never think, what if that violence turns back on them? Because the Republicans are all just good Christians, and that's not the Christian way to think. I don't know. But God forgive me. They were applauding what happened to Charlie Kirk. A great human being. Forget about politics, just a great human being. Trying to promote good in the world. And he was the biggest public enemy, number one, to the globalists, the evil globalists. A young, good-looking, great speaker, huge following, growing. The president isn't the public enemy number one, even though they try to take Donald Trump out. The presidency's 4 years. Charlie Kirk had 50 years ahead of him running an organization that's growing exponentially every minute. So to them evil bastards, he was public enemy number one to change the narrative on those universities so they can vote and elect proper politicians and get the pollution out of the politics. Grassroots, the real way. So they could propagate all that evil around the clock, all these networks. They want to promote violence and they want to do everything else. But maybe there has to be a different game plan before you can get to the Charlie Kirk game plan. And that's what the mafia would do. There's supposed to be a truce. There's supposed to be agreements with this family and that family, and then something happens. See, you can have a sit down. Two mafia bosses could sit down and go, yeah, Tony, all right. You chill out, I'll chill out. Okay, yeah, let's have a toast. Yeah, we agree. You chill out, we chill out. By the time they leave that meeting, by the time they get to their car, Tony's thinking to himself, screw that Jimmy. So you could sit down with your kumbaya campfire meetings, everything's in bells and whistles and rainbows, and that's nice. Wow, we had a good constructive dialogue, and we're really growing in morality, and we're growing with all these different statutes of morality and a moral compass, and we're growing and we're growing and growing. By the time Jimmy gets to the car, by the time Tony gets to the car, he's MFing him. Screw him, that no good, blah, 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 blah. So that's where your nice little sit downs and your nice little meetings and all that in good faith. But and now you transpose that to what is going on politically in our country. It's on steroids. It makes the mafia look like the boys club. Compared to what these evil politicians are, they're worse than the gangsters. They're worse than the mafias, the George Soroses, and all those global elitists. They're worse than Lucifer. So you can have all that constructive dialogue, and God bless Charlie Kirk for promoting that, and his organization is going through the roof. The mafia would address it a different way, and then once everything is settled, they'd say, let's sit down and have a sandwich and let's talk. The mafia bosses, let's sit down, let's talk. Yes, everything's going fine. We're all making money. Bah, bah, bah. Yes, everything's good. Yeah, tell the wife and kids I said hello. Bah, bah, bah. Boom, boom, boom. Now everything's level. But how do you get to that point? What is the path to that point? Because the Democrat Party that is in right now is evil on every level. You can't have a sit down and constructive dialogue with the devil, in case you haven't noticed, boys and girls. It's going to take devilish actions to put any impact on evil. You can't sing campfire songs and make the evil go away. I put Charlie Kirk and his wife in the highest esteem of great Christian human beings on planet Earth. The Turning Point organization is going to have more power than a said Republican Party or Democrat Party. They're running their own objective, because who's to say that the Republicans can't get squirrely 10 years from now? Years ago, the Democrats were all right and the Republicans were a little squirrely. Now it's changed that the Democrats have just turned into total evilness, and the Republicans have common sense and knowledge. But when you got a outside entity, the Turning Point, Charlie Kirk's and his wife, you got a neutral base with a huge following that can offer a huge voice and correction to get people toward common sense and logic and Christian values. That will remain static. That will remain a neutral organization that promotes good. because the Republican Party could turn evil, and of course the Democrats are evil. So a political system can morph into different things as the years go by, but the turning point will remain firm and stand strong on their Christian values. In case you didn't know, wasn't this country founded on Christian? Weren't the amendments founded on Christianity and the biblical beliefs? In case you've forgotten. So Charlie Kirk, I love you. God rest you. God bless you. His wife made a speech last night. It gave me the chills. Ooh, she is a warrior. Turning point is growing higher and higher and higher and higher. And there's going to be a good checks and balances to keep the youth aware of scumbag liberal colleges, scumbag politicians, and scumbag news networks. Keep their eyes open to not get indoctrinated by goofy politicians and news talk show hosts, to inspire thinking for themselves, results-based thinking based in Christian precepts and morals. Until that happens, and these scumbags want to keep promoting evil, when will they ever think twice about promoting evil and violence? What does it take? You tell me. What does it take? The Mafia, they want to give names and addresses of Republicans and where they live. They're posting the addresses of where the Republican politicians live. Really? Does anybody post the addresses where those evildoers live? Hmm? What, where is this going? They're promoting the game. Crazy. The Mafia would have a hit list. The Mafia would have a hit list, boys and girls. Put that fire out, put that fire out, put that fire out, put that fire out, because you got 10 little fires that turns into an inferno. And then what do you got? I'm not promoting violence. I'm saying this is where this can lead to. This is just an ongoing evil saga that doesn't look like that evil propaganda is ever going to stop. You can't have news organizations that are just unbiased and they just report results and facts. Is that so far-fetched in the United States of America in the year 2025? We haven't even come to a sense of logic and reason. It seems like as time goes by, we get further and further away from logic and reason in the year 2025. So what you got is an endless stream of evil coming from an organization which is called the Democrat Party. How do you ever counter that? What are the tools necessary that you need to say, what will it take for them to stop the crap? I got a few ideas, but it's not the biblical Christian way. You know, you know what I'm thinking and how I would look to address this, not as somebody that knew mafia gangsters, but I've been raised a Christian my whole life. I'm very biblical literate. And I know it's totally, totally wrong for revenge and everything like that. And that is definitely the furthest thing that Charlie Kirk would want. Yes, I understand that. But you think, okay, I understand that Christian moral view. I understand that. But where does it end? Well, the truth, sir, you're no better than Jesus Christ. They killed Jesus Christ on a cross. So you're not any better than that. I'm just thinking as a fallen human being that we all fall short of the heavenly glory. We all fall short. We have sinful nature. We have sinful thoughts. A sinful thought is as good as a sin. I understand all the biblical statutes. My Christianity says, leave everything alone. The angry person in me says, get revenge. Somebody should get revenge. They should get revenge, some whatever. So I'm torn between an internal tug of war that I've been blessed and saved by the angels many times. I was dead. I came back. I was dead. The angels saved me. So I should be the biggest Christian promoter on planet Earth because I'm still breathing air because I got rescued by the angels and was brain dead and dead for a couple of hours. So I should be the biggest promoter of the Christian way, me of all people. But I'm still having sinful thinking there should be revenge on these scumbags at these universities. There should be revenge on these political leaders spewing evil. There should be revenge on these talk show hosts that are promoting violence. My fallen nature thinks there should be revenge. But my Christian nature says, leave it all alone. So it's an eternal tug of war. The mafia side or the angry side or the vengeful side says, when those talk show hosts get up there, they shouldn't even make it to their car. When they're promoting all that. But then again, the Christian way of thinking things is God let Lucifer roam to and fro on planet Earth and said, get who you can get. But my children will know who their father is. So, yes, Joe, you little imbecile, me. Well, yes, there is going to be evil on the earth. I let Lucifer roam to and fro to create evil. And you're witnessing it now and you're pissed off about it. But my children will truly know who their father is. So you're going to have to accept the evil that is on planet Earth as a Christian. And it's never going to end. Lucifer has dominion to roam to and fro. Biblically speaking, that's the setup here, in case you haven't noticed. And Lucifer is on a hell of a winning streak. So you are never going to snuff that out. So there shouldn't be any revenge or any bad thoughts about these talk show host people, these evil politicians, and all these university liberal psychos. So that should never come into your thinking apparatus that they should be taken out. You can't take Lucifer out. I let Lucifer roam to and free on planet Earth. So so it's a test. It's a test. It's a biblical test that you got to accept that. You got to believe in we'll all be reunited again in heaven and we'll all be fine and dandy. And you're going to have to look at evil in a certain way. You're going to look at evil a certain way. And you're not supposed to retaliate and you're not supposed to have any revenge. And you're going to have to turn the other cheek. And that's the way you're going to have to be as a faithful, loyal Christian. And you got to be a Christian thinker before you could be a regular humanistic civilian. But maybe I might say, I agree with that. That's fine and dandy. But are there other people roaming the streets in society that says, I don't care about Christianity. I want revenge on these other people? I mean, that's what we're up against. Philly Bob, how you feel, buddy? So, and this is that, and it's no, and that is the Charlie Kirk way. That is the Charlie Kirk way. Yes, that's the way it is. Charlie Kirk knew he was playing a dangerous game. There has been No kidding, Sally. There's been a lot of threats on Charlie Kirk. Of course, there's been. He's going into the belly of the monster to all these liberal psycho Democrat universities, and they're spitting on him, they're hollering, and he's just doing constructive debate. He's just doing constructive debate. Francis Philly. So he knew he was going into the belly of the monster, and he was willing to accept the consequences as a Christian. He put his Christianity first, and then he transferred those beliefs into the political arena, in which the American political system is the most evil political apparatus on planet Earth. You're talking about a soldier. You're talking about a warrior. He's braver than 99% of Mafia gangsters. Hey, Deb. He's braver to take on and expose himself in danger. He's more braver than any other common man anywhere, let alone the Mafia. He's braver and has more courage than any man, so to speak, on planet Earth. And you know how evil and powerful those globalists are that run these liberal universities. He's willing to sit right there, exposed. Charlie Kirk, no doubt, was put on planet Earth from God. God put a living angel on planet Earth named Charlie Kirk. And to do God's work through the academia, the children, to be Christians and thinkers, it's biblical. Charlie Kirk isn't political, first and foremost. Charlie Kirk is biblical. Charlie Kirk was an angel sent from God to get the youth to think, because there's a three-pronged attack against the youth's thinking apparatus. Charlie Kirk, a soldier and a warrior, went into the belly of the beast. He's beyond Mother Teresa. No disgrace to Mother Teresa. There isn't an award. There is not an award on planet Earth that is worthy enough to give Charlie Kirk. That's a man. He's got more cayunes than any gangster. That's a man fighting for the youth, fighting for Christianity, and not afraid of any of the consequences because his Christian beliefs were so strong. His family knew the danger that he was in. Anybody else would have ran for the hills. Anybody else would have said, all right, that's okay. I made enough money. I'm set up financially. I'm doing all right. Anybody else would have ran for the hills. 99.99% of anybody would have ran for the hills after they established a turning point. They'd put other people in place and he could sit back and relax. He's still sitting right in the line of fire across all these crazy liberal colleges, and he never thought twice about keeping up and doing what he's doing. That's beyond a man's man. That's beyond courage. That is how much he believed. He was a Christian first, and the Republicans happen to be the ones that are on the side of Christianity in this day and age, and the Democrats happen to be evil, and that's what's happening on all these college campuses. So he's confronting Satan, these liberal colleges. He's sitting and confronting Satan every day and not thinking twice. He's a bigger man than any mafia gangster could be. He's a bigger man than any man in society anywhere can be. And he paid the ultimate price. And he knew the risks that were involved. He didn't just hang his hat and say, okay, honey, get the kids. We're going to go over here. We got the mansion. We're all set up. But honey, there's threats on you. There's threats on you, and you should be careful. Watch the clip from his wife. She spoke last night. But honey, no, we're gonna do God's work. And they were citing biblical scripture that defends that. Me, I believe in God. I believe the angels that saved me. I believe in Christianity. I believe in all that. Yes, it's the only way. It's the perfect way. Then there's a mafia side that says the college professors should be held accountable. The evil network should be held accountable. The evil politicians should be held accountable. Nobody on the other side is ever held accountable. Well, that is just labeled as the evil that exists in the world. And the Christians already have the victory. But the humanistic thinking side of it is revenge. Revenge. Maybe they'll think twice. You know, they'll never think twice. They've normalized it. The evil scum liberal Democrats, they've normalized it now. So they don't think twice. And they spin it 24 hours a day, 24 hours in a day. And they try to indoctrinate people's minds. Charlie Kirk was the guy, the weapon, boots on the ground to stop that. And they knew it. His power, his organization is stronger than the Republican Party because he's going to stay firm in those beliefs of that organization. And it's never going to go away. Because 10 years, the Democrats could be good and the Republicans could be evil. So political parties could change from good to evil. Political parties in a two-party system, they could change. The turning point is staying firm on Christian beliefs forever. Forever. So they're not going to be swayed politically. Right now, the Republicans are good and the Democrats are evil. So his message, more or less, is going to make the Democrats hate him. But 10 years from now, his message might make the Republicans hate him. But it's not going to stray from the fact that his Christian belief and patriot beliefs and to have a great country, that's going to stay constant. That's going to stay constant. Whatever our political system is doing. Because they could change from good for evil overnight. Good or evil, good or evil. The turning point is going to stay strong and grounded in their Christian beliefs and their patriotic beliefs. That's not going to change politically. And that's what we have, folks. This video should have 1 million views. This video should have 1 million views. But I'm happy for the people I got here. Here's something else I want to say while I'm on that. While I'm being a crybaby because how YouTube censored me. YouTube censored me for my political beliefs. And I thought to myself, I saw Charlie Kirk on Fox News. I thought to myself, you know what? I'm pissed off. I'm angry. I got censored by YouTube. They shut my channel down. And I said, at least there's a guy like Charlie Kirk that is saying everything that I want to say way better than I could say it. Way better. And he's getting the audience more than I could ever get. And I could sleep good knowing that Charlie Kirk is out there speaking a louder voice, more eloquently. He never got angry. He never got angry. They're calling him, they're spitting on him, they're sitting there, they're going nuts at these campuses. He never got angry. I'd be going, you retard, you did this. He never got angry. Better man than me. But I thought to myself, at least there's somebody out there that can deliver a message better than anybody on planet Earth. This guy is the real deal. And his organization, The Turning Point, is going to continue. His organization and his wife, who is no pushover, This organization, the Turning Point, just grew 100 times bigger overnight. And I could still feel good about there's still a fight against this political two-party system, evil in America, that will continue to put their message out to the youth and not get brainwashed by evil college professors, evil politicians, evil TV networks. That ain't going to be enough anymore. That's not going to be enough. Your evil professors and your evil politicians and your evil TV networks. Well, guess what? That ain't going to be enough anymore because they're going to vote for politicians that represent the great American traditions. And that's what we can feel good about, boys and girls. That's what we can feel good about because you're going to raise awareness, which is through the roof. And we're going to make sure we have leaders that don't betray our country, like Joe Biden and Obama and all them scums. So it's only getting started. 50 years from now, when our country is raised up and doing great, they're going to look back and say, what was the turning point that steered America in the right direction? Well, coincidentally, the turning point of our country was from Charlie Kirk that started an organization called The Turning Point. You can't make this stuff up. Historians will look back, and his message will never be in vain. He's a hero. He's an American hero. So that is going to remain. That is going to remain. So the college professors, well, there'll be such an awareness that they're not going to send their kids to these liberal psycho colleges anymore. They're not going to vote for evil politicians anymore. There'll be nobody watching the evil propaganda networks anymore. There'll just be fair, level news, unbiased, unbought. So that is what we're looking at. That is the turning point. It's a sad way for it to turn an organization into a global machine now to get people to wake up and start thinking and start to see what's at play. They're not going to elect these scumbag politicians that got crazy freaking policies. No. They're not going to entertain the CNNs and the Whoopi Goldbergs and the George. They're not going to entertain that gibberish anymore. That will be taboo down the road. When you look back and historically and say, when did that all start? When did that turn around? What was the turning point that made this revival happen in our country? The turning point happened when a guy named Charlie Kirk started an organization called The Turning Point, and that's ironic and coincidental, but that's what it took. That was the turning point to get some sensibility, to get some moral compass back into our country instead of all this evil. So that is going to happen. So that organization and Charlie Kirk's beautiful wife, they're just getting started. Because you have a two-party system that could change on the public. Democrat, Republican. At any time they're bought and paid for, they could change. Money changes people. People sell their souls for money. Democrats, Republicans, they sell their soul for money. There's no moral compass. The turning point is based in Christianity and patriotism, which more people feel safe there. We feel safe in that environment. And that's good. That's blowing through the roof. So you're going to get more educated people that can see through the pollution, and they're going to elect proper, adequate politicians. They're not going to watch propaganda network TV, and they're not going to attend these liberal scumbag colleges. So that's where we're going from. So this is what happened. Charlie Kirk, yes, God bless. He's a saint. He's an angel. And that's what's going to happen. It's a sad that the message had to get so stronger, but this is one of the greatest human beings. And I think God in his infinite wisdom said, let me bring this angel back home and get this freaking country straightened out. It's sad. That's not fair, God. That's not fair. That's not fair. That's not fair. But life isn't fair. All right, folks. Thank you, Francis. Thank you. I spoke my piece. And Charlie Kirk, I put in higher esteem than any other president. The guy's a saint, St. Charles. The guy is a saint. He went into the belly of the monster. He never raised his voice to those retards, those lib retards. He never raised his voice. Oh, I'm not supposed to say retard on my channel. Oh, forgive me. I'm not supposed to say retards. What's this world coming to? And all those woke freaks on all these liberal campuses, he sat in front of them. He sat in front of them 1,000 times. He sat in this freak show called these liberal colleges. And he did it so brilliantly. He did it lovingly. He's a better man than me. I'd say take your blue hair, get the hell out of here. Your white trash blue-haired element, get out of here. You woked out, rainbowed out, freak liberal colleges, get out of my face. He was the opposite. He was the opposite. He never broke from that. Wow, that's an angel. You're not a human being. You have to be an angel to have that level of reservation and intellect. When people say they're a Christian, Charlie Christian was a Christian. Charlie Christian. Charlie Kirk has got to be the biggest example of a Christian that ever graced this planet. You could talk Christianity till you're blue in the face, but when you put yourself in danger and still preach a good message, that's a different story. When you put yourself in danger and you're still preaching a good message for Christianity and patriotism, you got to have a set of cayunes on you like there's no tomorrow. Whew. There ain't gangsters that got cayunes that big. Mafia gangsters, they hear footsteps, they think they're in trouble, they go run away and hide. The mafia gangsters, they go run away and hide. He goes right back into the damn belly of the monster, exposed in the out in public, exposed. Wow. I believe God sent Charlie Kirk to do God's work and protect the youth that's being indoctrinated in all these colleges by evil, liberal scum. God said it's got to end somewhere. There has to be a turning point. And Charlie Kirk started an organization called The Turning Point. And it's turning now like a mofo. It's rising up like a mofo. That'll be strong. And whatever the Democrats and Republicans do, well, that they do what they do. But the turning point will always stand firm on biblical statutes and standards and morals. That ain't going away. I think this world can use a nice little dose of Christianity, for crying out loud, because the devil's on a winning streak. We got to put up a little fight. Charlie Kirk was the angel that was sent here. And God said, when Charlie Kirk got to God, Charlie Kirk said, "Job well done, my faithful servant." God said, "Charles, come here. Job well done, my faithful servant." And he's rejoicing with the angels. Charlie Kirk. He's a saint, St. Charles. I think I'll refer to Charlie Kirk as St. Charles. St. Charles. Because nobody could hold a candle to this man. Nobody. Nobody. On every way you perceive Charlie Kirk, he's the total maximum threshold. A husband, a father, a son, a friend. He is the best to represent a human being that God has ever put on planet Earth. There ain't 20 popes at the Vatican that can light a candle to Charlie Kirk. Most of you might know what I'm talking about. There ain't a pope or any other religious leader out there that could hold a candle to Charlie Kirk. That was the living embodiment of true Christianity. He was the embodiment of what Christianity is all about. If you came to earth and you said, "Well, I'm a little confused. What's a Christian supposed to be?" They'd say, "There's a guy named Charlie Kirk. Check him out." If you're an alien, "Well, I'm a little confused here. They got this Christians and all this, but what is that? Where can I find like the best Christian that, well, there's a guy named Charlie Kirk. That's as close as you're going to get to God. His name's Charlie Kirk." That's who this man was. That is who this man was. So, and when I say there should be revenge, that's not the Charlie Kirk way. There should be revenge on those politicians. There should be revenge at those universities, on those professors. And when I say there should be revenge on those talk show network hosts, that's not the Charlie Kirk way. It's not the Charlie Kirk way. We already have the victory. We already have the victory. It's just being played out. You're never going to snuff evil out. Even when you got evil being exemplified by this thing called the Democrat Party, even when it's the most evil organization on planet Earth, it's just the way this game is set up. We have to choose if we're going to be Christians. We have to choose of where we're going to lay our moral compass. We're going to have to choose what we want to behave like. We want to choose of what kind of person we want to be, what kind of father, husband, wife, cousin, friend. We have to choose in our own personal life. And that's what Charlie Kirk showed. There's no people getting married anymore. Marriage is down 70%. Because of this liberal scum that creates perversion. The core group family does not exist. Husband, wife, 3 children. It's been taken out. Charlie Kirk promoted that. Be fruitful and multiply. The evil Democrat scum don't promote that. So if somebody wanted to know what a real Christian was, a man, you could say, is there a man on planet Earth that could be the closest thing to Jesus Christ? There's a guy named Charlie Kirk. Check him out, because he's the closest thing to Jesus Christ that ever came on this planet. Bar none. Not even a debate. He got caught up in a political environment, and what happened. But his message is going to grow for decades. For decades. Kids won't start going to those scummed liberal colleges. People won't keep watching that liberal scumbag media. And people won't be electing these crazy politicians. That's what he created. And you can't put that fire out. All right, folks. Vengeance is the Lord's, Francis. So there we have it. I know I don't get a lot of views, and that's all right. Uh-uh. There's nothing that they could do. There's nothing that they could do to me that is worse than what they did to Jesus Christ and Charlie Kirk. So it ain't that bad, the True Serm. It ain't that bad. It's a YouTube channel. It ain't that bad. It's frustrating, yes, but it ain't that bad. You got it good, the True Serm. You got it really good. So, if you have eyes to see, then see. If you have ears to hear, then hear. So that's that. I'm going to watch some college football. I'm going to have a great day. Thank you, God. Thank you, Jesus. And you know what? The churches are going to see a revival. Yes. Yes. The churches. Hey, Mr. H, how you been? Churches are going to be coming back. The biblical way. There's the Democratic Party way. There's the Republican way. But one way that will always be constant is the biblical way. It doesn't move left or right. It's right there. The biblical way is the only way at the end of the day. The biblical way is the only way at the end of the day. You see what I say? Forgive me, folks. So that's what we got. I feel good in lieu of all this craziness. I feel good that the Turning Point organization is skyrocketing right now. Grow people into think and grow people to get closer to the Christian morals that founded this country. Our currency says, "In God we trust." Our Constitution was built from the biblical standards. You can stray away from biblical standards by politics, but at some point in time, it's always going to have to be a point of correction, and there has to be a turning point. It's always going to boomerang back. You can go out and do all that crazy stuff, but at some point in time, there's a point of correction that's going to have to come. All right, I can go on for 7 hours, folks. Mr. H, how you been? Everything's good. I'm not promoting violence to get revenge against news hosts and all that. The New York Jets, how you doing? Yeah, I had to do tribute for Charlie Kirk. I couldn't take the pressure. I just couldn't take the pressure. What they did to me on YouTube doesn't compare what they did to Charlie Kirk. So, don't be a big baby, Joe. So I'm just going to speak on some of this stuff and see how the turning point and how that rises up, because it's not based on a political party. Their belief system, the turning point belief system, is in alignment. It runs in alignment with the Republican Party. But 10 years from now, you could have the Turning Point organization that is constant in its Christian beliefs, but the Democrat, 10 years from now, maybe the Republicans will be crazy and the Democrats will be all right. So the political system can always change back and forth. But when you stick your flag in the sand and say, we're sticking to Christian, that's constant. That's the Christian belief is always constant. The two-party system can go back and forth from good or evil. But now you got the turning point in there is to say, let's think, let's hold people accountable. Let's see what's going on TV. Let's see what's going on in the pop with these politicians. Let's see what's going on with these liberal universities. That is not going away. That is not going away. Because parents will start telling their children, don't go to that scumbag liberal college. We don't we don't want professors indoctrinating my child's mind with that gibberish, anti-Christian views at these liberal colleges. It's gonna work from the ground up. Because if these liberal colleges are still spewing the same crap, then parents won't be parents that have Christian values won't be sending their children to these freak show liberal colleges. They won't be elected freak whacked out, woked out politicians. They won't be watching these CNN, MSNBC. They won't be viewing. They don't have viewership now as it is. You know, Bugs Bunny gets more views on a Sunday than CNN. They don't have any viewership as it is anyhow, but they will all self-destruct. So educate through Turning Point and maintain those Christian morals, and the rest will fall into place. They're not going to send their children to these freak shows. Yeah. Yeah, that Ihan Omar, that towel head, that Omar, she's up there causing all this trouble. They'll all dissipate. And you have to use your vote. Like Charlie Kirk said, your vote is the most powerful decision you could make. So this is all going to be reflected in these the Democrats, because there could be Democrats that are fair thinkers. Republicans, there could be level-headed thinkers as Democrats. There could be level-headed thinkers at CNN, but they're standing on evil. But there can become a point where major colleges and universities are just unbiased. Teach. Don't indoctrinize children. Teach children, and then the children can make a decision for themselves. Teach. Don't sneak in the door and just try to brainwash children. No. And that's what we're going to see in the future. Because if the Democrat Party and the news, their ratings are gone, people won't start sending their kids to these radical liberal colleges, and they're going to just self-destruct. They're going to self-destruct. So, Mr. H, long time no see, the New York Jets 15, everything's good here. And, I says, what would the Mafia do? Well, the Mafia, they want to give names and numbers of people's addresses on the Republican side. Well, the Mafia would get the names and numbers of them and go do some business. That's not the biblical way. That's not the Charlie Kirk way. But you're running around in the devil's playground, and it's just like, well, what the hell? Turn the other cheek, turn the other cheek, turn the other cheek. Nah, somebody might want to smash somebody. Look at all the attempts, 30, 35, 40 attempts that the Democrats have been promoting violence to go after. There's 40 to 50 attempts on Republican politicians, let alone the president of the United States, if you haven't noticed. And they're promoting all that. When do people on the other side start to promote violence against them? Well, that's not the Christian way. That's not the Charlie Kirk way. But the Mafia way would be like, get their addresses. Oh, now they're running scared. AOC, she canceled her speaking engagement. The little weasel that she is. The little weasel. Charlie Kirk's wife is going to do the next gathering. And whatever it is. It's sold out in 42 seconds. Charlie Kirk's wife and the Turning Point sold out in a minute. AOC, the biggest scumbag of the Democrat Party, she canceled her speaking engagement, the weasel that these Democrats are. She canceled. What are they afraid of? They promote all this violence. They promote all this insanity. Now they're thinking, oh, geez, that could happen to me, Billy. Hey, hello. Hey, Chuck Schumer. Hey, watch out. What have we created here? Hey, Nancy Pelosi. Whoa, wait, what's this? Whoa. You're creating and promoting that on a loop around propaganda media. And now all of a sudden you're worried. Because evil could show up anywhere, and you're promoting it. AOC. Well, I don't think it might be in my best. Go crawl in your holes. You want to throw stones and then crawl in your holes because now you're scared because them stones could come back and hit you. The weaseled out, rainbowed out, freak, perved out Democrat Party is just evil. Some of the other one too. There was like four of the biggest loudmouth Democrats that promote evil and violence. Well, aren't they on the righteous team? Aren't they on the righteous moral compass team? They all canceled. They canceled. They want to spew evil. So maybe you should tone it down, you evil rodents. Tone it down. You're promoting violence just in general. Just violence. Violence is okay. They've normalized violence. They're calling for Republicans to have violent attacks on them. They're promoting violence in general, and all they've done is normalized it for the psychos that watch them and listen to them. But now the shoe's on the other foot, and they're going, "Oh, damn. Hey, Chuck, what do you think about that speaking engagement?" "No, AOC, you better not." "Well, I've already canceled the one in New York City." And whoa, 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 whoa! What do we have here? You create a monster, and then you're afraid of the monster. You weaseled out them scums. You weaseled out, freaked out, woked out, devil, evil, Luciferians, Satanists, pervs, globalists, elitists, George Soros. When will people start giving their addresses out? Huh? You want to play the game? You want to play the Mafia game? You're worse than the Mafia, but the Mafia would have all your names and numbers, and they would seek you out. The Dem Rats, Deborah. Is that my sister, Deborah? Deborah, are you my sister? So I ramble on, as you're well aware of, but the New York Jets come in here. These are my good old friends, and very interesting to look at politics. Propaganda. Yeah. Oh, that picture looks different, Deb. The picture looks different. Yeah. So AOC and this Dorothy Hochul, the New York State governor, these are just evil. These Dems. Newsom over there in California, they're evil. They're evil. New York State is starting to lean Republican, which seems like bizarre. Bizarre. The biggest embedded Democrat Party state on planet Earth is slowly shifting to the Republican side, the logical and thinking side. Because they have the schools unions, they have all the big unions that just vote Democratic from the beginning of time. But the New York Jets 15 says the people of New York have had enough. They've had enough. You could only throw so many curveballs at people. You could only use so much sleight of hand and craziness and perversion. And today say, no, I don't agree with that craziness. Is there a viable opponent of these people that we can vote for? Yeah. Dorothy Hochul, New York State governor? Well, the Trump family are residents. The Trump family are residents of New York State. Any Trump could run for governor and win. Maybe you'll see that happen. Any Trump could run for governor of New York State and win. I hope his daughter-in-law runs because she don't play in any reindeer games. Lara, the son, any of those Trumps could probably win a governor race in New York State. The biggest Democratic, scummed out, freaked out. Our universities in New York State, they're so woked out, they're so perved out. All these universities in New York State is the epicenter of this crazy Democratic agenda. It's the epicenter. Maybe it'll start to shift. Maybe it'll start to shift. But Donald Trump could win governor of New York State. And while we're on the subject, boys and girls, Trump could also win a presidency in our country. While we're on the subject, and there's a lot of Trumps out there. There's a lot of Trumps out there. Thinkers, patriots, Christians. So I think the tide will change. I want to remain optimistic and believe that these things will change down the road. Because who will be the next Democrat governor? Dorothy Hochul? The only thing missing from Dorothy Hochul are the devil horns. When you look at her, you're looking at an evil entity. You could see it. You could see it emit from her essence, as well as many other of these Democrat politicians. You could see the evil essence flow out of them. You could feel it. It's chilling. I'll tell you, it's chilling. So New York State might change. I don't know about the mayor of New York, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But a Trump could win any political position in New York State. That's easy. And future presidency. Yeah. You think Trump did a good job in selecting J.D. Vance? He's a man of faith and dignity, and yes. Which J.D. Vance will probably be our next president for the next 8 years. That's safe to say, J.D. Vance. So the Democrats, no, it is bleak for them to win a presidential election anytime soon. Who do they have? Huh? Newsom from California? Who is the good-looking candidate for a future presidential race on the Democrat side? Who's their golden boy? Huh? Newsom? I think he might be too smart to not even get involved in that. They're going to try to find some Democrat senator or something, which you don't have much to choose for because they're evil. So who's going to be the face of the Democrat Party going forward? Yeah. Remember when they did debates live? That was the best, especially the Trump debate at Biden. Yes, the New York Jets. If you want to call that a debate, it was a mockery to expose an evil Democratic Party, and that was the beginning of the end. And the rest is history, with 2 failed attempts on Trump's life. So and guess what? The colleges can't help them. The crooked media can't help them. And crooked politicians can't help them. They can have all that craziness going on, but it still can't help them win a presidential election. When the smoke clears, they won't even be able to win a city council seat at the rate that party is tanking. I mean, the dam is broken. I mean, and they can't stand it. The global elitists that run all the evilness, the puppet masters, they can't stand it. Their only response is eliminate the enemy. That's their only response. Try to eliminate Donald Trump, eliminate Charlie Kirk. That's their only response. It still can't stop the cause. it still is not going to stop the cause. It only strengthens the cause. They have nobody. They have nobody. Who are they going to run in the next presidential election, 2028? Who are they going to run? The DNC don't even know. Their committee, they don't even know who they got. They got all these politicians with a brutal track record across the board. They don't have a Democrat politician that's got anything good on his resume. When you go apply for a job, you submit a resume. They got hate, perversion, and violence on their resume. Who they going to run? Who they going to run? The Republicans have altar boys running, firm in their Christian beliefs. The Republicans, they got demons. The Democrats got demons. They're Democrats. They're the Democrat party. Who are they going to run? They know it. The universities know it. The propaganda media know it. And the politicians in office know it. And there's nothing they can do about it. They think they could eliminate the enemy, but they can't. It just solidifies the Charlie Kirk organization. It solidifies the Republican base. So they're nitwits. They're nitwits. When will they ever stop and say, okay, let's put some good thinking people up there. Let's put some good moralistic people up there and try to beat the Republicans. When are they going to do that? There's nobody left to decide from now. There's no one left to think they're going to get. Go ahead, Newsom. J.D. Vance will put a dress on you. But Newsom would probably like that. I shouldn't say that because Newsom would like that woked out, rainbowed out perversion, But go ahead, Gavin. Get up there and get embarrassed. You thought Kamala Harris got embarrassed? Well, you go up there. You get up there and get embarrassed. Yeah, go ahead. California's even leaning toward the Republicans now. The Californians, half the people have moved out of California. Half the people have moved out of California. They're moving out so fast, they might have to restructure the representatives that are coming from that state. They're not going to have that much more representation because everybody's leaving that freaked out state. They're the epicenter as well as New York State. Who are they going to run? Dorothy Hochul? Dorothy, you want to run for president? I don't think so. Newsom, you want to run for president? Go ahead, get embarrassed. Mr. Minnesota, whatever that freak was, go ahead, get embarrassed. That retard that was with Kamala Harris. Yeah, go ahead, run for president. Go ahead. Go ahead. Mm-hmm. They tanked their party. And it's going to take years for them to recover until they come to sensible thinking. They're screwed. They are screwed like there's no tomorrow. They're done. There's so many good-looking, moral candidates on the Republican side. There's 100. Who is on the Democrat side that you could say, wow, that's a good boy. He can be he could give a good race. He will be a great candidate. Newsom, is he that much of a megalomaniac, psychopath, which I believe he is? That's the thought process. Well, who could be on the Democrat ticket? Well, Newsom. He's the biggest loudmouth over there. Well, then go ahead, try to be president. You're the biggest rodent out there. Well, go ahead. Test the waters. Get embarrassed like Kamala Harris got embarrassed. Okay? Get embarrassed. What? And then you can't go back and be governor. They'll have to elect another governor. So if you run for presidency, your political career might be over, Mr. Newsom. Because they'll have a re-election for the governor, and he ain't going to be a psychopath like you. So you don't think he's thinking like that? Your political career might be over if you run for presidency and get trounced like you would. So keep your little cozy job over there, okay? Put the gel in your hair. Put the sun. You're a playboy over there. You're the king over there. Yeah, you're the king of the peasants in California. Go right ahead. Yeah. Mm. And I didn't mention that. Thank you, Deborah. Charlie Kirk could have ran for president and win easily. Charlie Kirk would have been the perfect president too. Charlie Kirk could have ran for president and would win in a landslide. He would win in a landslide. He was the expert in debates. And can you imagine if they were doing those debates before election date and they're doing the debates like Trump was? Can you imagine some rookie Democrat trying to debate Charlie Kirk during a presidential election? He'd put a skirt on him. Yeah, Charlie would have been president for 8 years. Mhm. But at least it's a good consolation to know that we got many good, viable candidates on the Republican side. The Democrats have nobody. They have Lucifer. The Democrats have Lucifer. That's all. They're going to run a presidential campaign, and they got Lucifer. They're the Lucifer. Their approval rating is non-existent. Their ratings on the media are tanked. Democrat states are turning Republican. They're done. They're done. The correction is coming, and we can hang our hat on that. You know, remain patient and steadfast, and then it'll be corrected because the Democrat Party is through. They're through. Don't be surprised if you see another Trump down the road running for presidency or governor of New York State. Don't be surprised. New York State could have all the unions, all those bought and paid votes from all those unions and all that. It might not be enough in the future. California is just a freak show. But New York State has the ability to maybe have some more logical thinkers that can overcome that embedded voting base. So that's it, folks. Thank you, Deborah. New York Jets. Good to see you, folks, again. Mr. H, thank you. New York Jets. Francis, thank you. My good people. God bless you. Philly Bob, my man, Philly Bob. Thank you, folks. You know, we look at these things, but let's go out and have a good day. Let's laugh. You know, we gotta be aware of what's going on in our country. Yes, but we still have to laugh and have fun. I'm gonna watch some football. I'm gonna get some coffee. I'm gonna rock and roll, and everything's good. Thank you, Jesus. We're on the right team. We already have the victory. So there it is, folks. It doesn't matter if you subscribe or hit the like button. They already tanked my show anyways, but we're still going to have fun. We're on the winning team, so I can hang my head on that. Ronnie Pinder, I'm signing off. God bless you and your family. Everything's good. And that's that. So thank you. God bless. And God bless Charlie Kirk. God bless him and his beautiful wife and his beautiful family. And God bless the Turning Point organization that is skyrocketing through the roof. Thank you. We need this organization in our country. We need this organization on planet Earth. And we need some moral standard to be in place that's not motivated by any political party. Thank you, Charlie Kirk. St. Charlie Kirk, the most upright man other than Jesus Christ to grace this planet Earth. The most upright man, Charlie Kirk, to grace planet Earth other than Jesus Christ. St. Charles. God bless you, Charlie Kirk. We all love you. Thank you.